Yes, that really scares me.
Yeah, she's like an intensive care bear.
I agree. It's kind of accurate. I like it. Well, no one asked you.
Nerd. Okay, everyone, so today we're going to be talking about the endosymbiotic theory and sort of just expand upon what y'all did in class. Hi, Megan. Thank you for joining us 5 minutes late. Don't forget, SI starts right at 4. So I have this sign-in sheet that I'm going to pass around for you guys, so please write your first and last name and your student number on it. Okay, so if y'all will look at question 1 on your worksheet, we're going to begin by just talking about endosymbiosis. So can anyone just briefly explain to me in your own words what the endosymbiotic theory actually is? Okay then, so I guess maybe we should backtrack a little bit. So let's first just kind of start by describing the difference between a prokaryotic and eukaryotic cell. Can anyone put that in their own words?
Wait, but what are those? But seriously though, like, what are the cells?
Since word parts are very important to understanding biology, let's start with that. The prefix pro comes from Greek and it means before. The prefix "eu" is also Greek and it means true. The Greek root karyo initially translates to kernel or nucleus. Therefore, prokaryote means before the nucleus and eukaryote means true nucleus. Although there are additional differences other than nucleus, this is the hallmark difference. According to human physiology and Becker's World of the Cell, organelles are membrane-bound microcompartments that carry out specific functions. Prokaryotes do not contain membrane-bound organelles, but eukaryotes do. The major difference between prokaryotes and eukaryotes is the structure of their DNA. Prokaryote structures are circular chromosomes, while eukaryotes package their DNA into multiple linear chromosomes.
Oh, yeah, okay, I remember those from Bio 130. Okay, now I might understand this now what stuff is.
Okay guys, that was awesome. I'm glad that we have a better understanding now of the difference between prokaryotic and eukaryotic cells. So if we look specifically at our book for this class, Biological Science, we see that organisms in the environment depend on each other for different and very specific functions. So symbiosis occurs specifically when we have two individuals in nature that are living in contact with each other. So can anyone name some examples of these relationships in the environment?
I think an excellent example is the flora and fauna of the mammalian gut microbiomes.
Nemo and his anemone.
So Cody and Ryan, those were both actually really good examples of symbiosis. So today we're actually talking specifically about the endosymbiotic theory. And with the endosymbiotic theory, this is a modified form of symbiosis. And that is when one species actually lives inside an organism of another species. So we always talk about how important word parts are in here, right? So what does the prefix endo mean? Okay, so endo actually means inside, and then of course symbiosis is just a relationship between those two species. So I'm just going to really quickly read the part of the book for this class that actually talks about the endo portion of the endosymbiotic theory. So the endosymbiont theory states that an archaeal cell engulfed a bacterium. The bacterium was able to survive inside the archaeal cell without being digested by the lysosome, and the host archaeal cell provided the bacterium with protection and carbon compounds, while that bacterium provided the archaean with ATP. So can someone re-explain to me what I just told you in your own words?
So one old cell ate a simple cell and now they have a relationship? And now eukaryotic cells are the same.
Perfect. So in class we talked about a few specific examples of evidence for this theory. What were some of those?
In my notes, it said that it's a two-layer barrier that controls what goes in and out of the cell, along with protecting and supporting it. Membranes surround the cell, chloroplast and mitochondria, but the mitochondria and chloroplast have two membranes called the outer and inner membrane. The outer membranes look like the membranes of the cells they inhabit, and the inner membrane look more like bacterial cell membranes. So this is all evidence of a more ancestral cell being endocytosed by a more derived cell.
Nice job, you guys. What are some others?
Don't mitochondria and chloroplasts have DNA that's separate from the nucleus?
Yeah, you're right.
And also, what about reproduction? I just remember the professor saying that in this journal that he read from the Boston Journal of Medicine, that mitochondria and chloroplasts reproduce just like bacteria.
I read some neat studies by this guy called Cummins who said that mitochondria can replicate and even fuse independent of the cell cycle just like bacteria do. This makes sense in light of symbiosis because mitochondria don't replicate like our cells do, they replicate like bacteria. Some other guy named Chen said that chloroplasts are supposed to replicate based on light exposure, which causes fission. That sort of works for the same reason because the host doesn't regulate the creation of chloroplasts. They replicate using fission like bacteria.
Okay guys, actually that was awesome. We're on a roll. So there's one more specific evidence for endosymbiosis that I want you to know. Megan, will you tell us what it is?
I guess. So according to Gray, the mitochondrial and chloroplast genetic system has features that more closely resemble archaic bacteria than eukaryotes. The original paper by Margulis proposed the endosymbiotic theory.
Awesome, you guys. That's about it. So let's just do a quick summary before we leave. Roberta, will you just give me a quick recap so we all understand everything that we've talked about today and how it connects?
So I think we basically talked about the differences between prokaryotes and eukaryotes and how the theory of endosymbiosis involved one ancestral prokaryote engulfing another one. That they somehow provided what each other needed, like energy. And then they survived and now they live happily ever after. And this is where all the complex eukaryotes come from now.
Awesome job, guys. You did really well.
High five!